Sure. The surprising element of last night is certainly that the far-right National Rally has not ended up first. There was a big fear in France that they would gain the absolute majority, turning France into an anti-migration, anti-European and anti-environmental country. What is less surprising is that the country is more divided than ever. The Centre Party lost significantly in support. 40 to 50% voted extreme left or right, and this leads to a very difficult and unprecedented situation with the hung parliament and with Macron failing his goal to ensure clarity and security.
So let's look at the details, what it means for the different parties. Let's look at the far right. They were hoping to have a victory in this one and as a stepping stone for the presidential election in 2027. Obviously, they come not with a victory this time around, but we shouldn't discount them out just yet.
Certainly not. And for today, it's a loss for them. They didn't win for the parliamentary election. They hoped for more, but it doesn't tell us anything about the 2027 presidential election. The race is open. The dissatisfaction of French voters and citizens has not gone away with this result. So I see them on a good track for the presidential election.
So a lot of responsibility then fall onto the centrist party and potentially the left-wing bloc. That left-wing bloc, the Nouveau Front Populaire, surprisingly managed to get together very, very quick. But we know there are a lot of inherent tensions within that group. So what do you think can they put on the table now? Because they claim they want to be forming government. Would they be able to do that, and with what policies?
The challenge for the left bloc is whether or not they remain united over the next couple of days or whether they break up again in their old conflicts. And if they are smart, they would come up with a moderate candidate who they would propose to Macron as a prime minister, putting pressure on Macron. But, I mean, as we know from the past, this is not sure whether they can hold together. The policies that they pursue are very diverse, very heterogeneous, from anti-capitalist proposals such as the abolition of the pension reform, higher taxes, more spending, which of course are positions that are irreconcilable with the centre.
Well, let's look at the markets then, because we know they kind of had priced in a hung parliament, but what they hadn't priced in is that the left-wing bloc would come top in this election, the potential influence it might have in policies going forward. So what do you think the markets will do of this result? Because we've seen the euro already slip on this. Are they going to brace for potentially more bad news for the markets?
The markets have already priced in some uncertainty over the last couple of weeks. However, as you say, they accounted in a right-wing government and not a left-wing. And the positions of the left parties are potentially even more detrimental to the economy than the right-wing parties. So we will see an update of markets. We will also see that France is facing a widened bond spread on its debt, and France is already heavily indebted, runs a high fiscal deficit. Rating agencies have downgraded France over the last couple of months, so we will see potentially a difficult situation for France on the markets.
Because a hung parliament would mean complete paralysis. I mean, it's hard to see how the three blocs right now would be able to put any reforms on the table or deal with the public finances. So how do you see the coming weeks and months potentially when it comes to addressing particularly these public finances issues?
The public finances issue is key. France runs a deficit of 5%, has to bring it down to 3% required by the European Union fiscal laws. I don't see how a left-leaning coalition could ensure this. That's why Emmanuel Macron is in a very difficult situation. He must rely on centric positions in order to ensure fiscal prudence.
And how about a coalition? It is not in the French political tradition at all, unlike what we see in Germany, for example. Do you think they might be able to reinvent French politics and come with an agreement?
France has this unique chance of learning a new political culture, moving from this absolute majority habit to a more coalition-oriented, compromise-oriented forming of governments. It's going to be very difficult, but it requires from all representatives of all parties that they make a step towards each other in order to ensure that France remains governable.